pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call please, Carol.
Steve Beardsley is absent. Mike Wright,
Present.
Brant Fuller,
Here.
Joe Palmer,
Present.
Megan Sheets is absent. Clarence Worthen,
Present.
Eric Woods.
Present.
Okay, do we have any public comments? Do you have anything? Okay. Oh, I forgot the minutes. Yeah, we're gonna do the minutes first. Do we have any questions or comments on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as read or presented. Second.
Roll call.
Mike Wright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Okay, and still no public comments, right? Okay, I'm going to recess the council meeting at 7:02. We have a public hearing and open the public hearing on ordinance 22-04. And this is the additional appropriation for the 6,000.
I do, $6,788.
So that's the rest of the ARPA money that we received, that extra. So we have any public comments? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:03 and reopen the council meeting. Yes, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna make a motion to suspend the rule, pass this on second, third reading. Second.
Was that second from Brant?
Mhm. Roll call, please.
Mike Wright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye. Make a motion, we pass 22-04 on second and third reading. Second.
Roll call.
Mike Wright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance number 22-04 passes on second and third reading. And then Carol will submit that to the state and we'll wait for the approval, but like I said, that's the final $6,788, so. Okay, next on the agenda is ordinance number 22-05, and this is on second reading. And that's amending the City of Frankfurt ARP time plan.
I'll move to pass ordinance 2205 on second reading.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mike Wright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Okay, ordinance number 22-05 passes on second reading. Next on the agenda is ordinance number 22-06, and this is on first reading. I'd entertain a motion on whether you want
Make a
to.
motion to read the title only.
Second.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mike Wright,
Aye.
Brant Fuller,
Aye.
Joe Palmer,
Aye.
Clarence Worthen,
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Aye.
Common Council, City of Frankfurt, Indiana, ordinance number 22-06, an ordinance amending certain sections, Title 7 of the City of Frankfurt Code of Ordinances.
Okay, Jim, do you want to go ahead and come out and talk to us before we? Where it is.
Have you all had a chance to look at the changes we've made on this?
We don't have enumerated changes for you to go over.
There's quite a bit. What we have done here, Title 7 is one of the most used titles for our code enforcement and our officers for the violation of city ordinances. And this, I don't believe, has been updated since, I believe, the mid-60s, this actual title. And so Les and I sat down, went over line by line, And one of the biggest things we did was take out the word motor as far as vehicles, because there's people with trailers, there's people with motorhomes, there's people with camping trailers, and that's a vehicle, but it didn't say motor vehicle, so we were not able to do anything about that. That's one of the biggest things, the changes we've made. Cleaned up a lot of the language to make it good for 2022. A lot of these ordinances are already on the books and in place in other communities throughout the state. They've already been challenged in court and passed. So we didn't reinvent the wheel. We're just putting together things that are already happening and updating everything that we need to do. For instance, I can go through some of these things. For instance, we had people sometimes pull their car in a private driveway or stop and park and block the driveway. And we had nothing to do anything about that. And that's pretty frustrating. And so the homeowner was the ones that, if they're in their driveway, had to tow it away. And most of the time, the tow bill, the towing companies wouldn't do it because no one was being charged with anything. But that's something we can enforce. Parking, this is hard to believe, the yellow curbs. We had nothing in our ordinances where we could enforce someone parking on a yellow curb. That just seems like it should naturally be there, but it wasn't. Parking within a certain amount of distance of a fire hydrant. We didn't have that. Parking a certain distance of an intersection. As you know, in the city, when you pull up to an intersection and there's vehicles parked right there, and number one, you may not see the stop sign, or number two, you pull out, you can't see a car coming. So that was something we added in there. It's just common sense things that we put in here that's going to help us. You can no longer jack your vehicle up on a city street and work on it for 6 months. I know that that's not a very good thing to see, but we have that over a period of the city. And so that's something we can enforce. I mean, there's a 48-hour, but some of these people, they're redoing an engine or something on the side of the road, and we just can't do that. There's a time or a place for that. And I'm just kind of skipping on a lot of these. There's parking 48 hours, parking more than 2 days. There was never anything in there on how far you had to move the car to be in compliance. And so we added in there that the vehicle must be moved a minimum of 10 feet or you didn't comply with the warning. Some people felt like if they moved it 6 inches that, and we technically, if they told the judge, God moved it 6 inches, then it's good. You had a chance, you're looking at the finished copy, right? Is there anything in there that you look at that you question instead of going over every single one of these? Les and I probably sit down for 3 hours.
And I might point out one of the stand-up changes was on 72.22, probably the 4th page back or so. Section 72.22, towing and storage charges. That first paragraph was in there, but everything from A and those sub-paragraphs down were not. So it really cleaned that up quite a bit. We were not able to redline this against the current municipal code because we didn't have that code in Word and it was pretty long. So I've just got notes in my handwritten copy here where the changes are, and as Jim indicated, a lot of things like motor taken out of motor vehicle. And there was some cosmetic changes throughout, but that one at 72.22 had quite a few things in those subparagraphs.
I think in 7205, several different parts of that. Like 50 feet from a railroad crossing, there was nothing in our ordinance in regards to that. Unlawful to park a vehicle alongside a street excavation or stopping and obstructing traffic like Jason, they want to do street buildings and things like that. And people don't heed to his signs. Well, we could actually cite these people, but without this, we could not do that in the past. I think, not that we want to do that, but if you do that a couple times because someone doesn't want to comply, the word gets around, hey, the street department put those signs up 2 days ago, we shouldn't park there. They're actually trying to make our street better.
There's a change in section 72.10 on parking on narrow streets. That section allows the Board of Works to restrict parking along one side of any street that is 30 feet or less in width from curb to curb. Used to read 28 feet, so that was increased by 2 feet.
Do we have any questions for Jim?
I guess, I mean, I understand it. When I read on, on 72.05, section D, it shall be unlawful to park any RV camper or trailer unattended or unattached to a vehicle. I understand the RV and the camper. I guess my concern there is, and I understand trailers to an extent, but we have a lot, I've noticed we have a lot of trailers that people come on that they use for business, that when they come home at night, I'm concerned about, I would understand a business trailer setting for a number of days.
If they're currently using it, then I'm sure it's probably attached to a vehicle. What our problem is they unattach them and they just let them sit there, and especially in the neighborhoods and stuff. That's what we're concerned about. If someone is working Monday through Friday and they have a trailer, I'm guessing they're gonna leave it attached to their truck.
Right.
And the next morning they're gonna pull out again. But we've had several trailers that have been sitting on the street.
Right.
And
Well,
Quite
that
frankly,
was my
people call.
concern was, should there be a time limit with that instead of it just being,
well, I guarantee you, we are so busy that we don't go out and look for that sort of thing. Sure. There's more important things to do. But if someone calls, or during our routine patrols, whether it's us or our code enforcement, and we see something that we think has been there longer than it probably should, number one, they always get a warning first.
okay,
2 is they make contact with them if all possible and let them know, hey, a lot of people don't know this is an ordinance. Here's a copy of the ordinance. We're here to help you out. If you enter a place to put this, please do so. I know people get warnings and they scream up and down that they got a ticket, and that's very seldom the case. The warning is for them to move or correct the situation so we don't have to come.
right, okay.
And that section was in the current code. Yeah.
May I add something? I really appreciate getting this ready to go because I'm currently working on with the publishing company of getting our hardbound code books updated as well as what's on the website. We haven't been able to do that for 3 to 4 years, so this is perfect timing. So thank you for all your hard work, Jim and Les.
We have a couple more titles to address with these types of changes. We wanted to do one title or chapter at a time, so this was Title 7.
I think this is the biggest one too.
Anybody else? Thank you, Jim. I appreciate all the hard work and Les. Thank you for working on things.
Yeah,
I
Les
know it's
does
something
Les
really
does
wanted
a
to
great
get
job
to.
on this.
Yes.
I love working with Les and if this all passes, I appreciate getting us up to the current standards because that's where we need to be. And that's what we're gonna be doing with the rest of these titles we bring to you and give our people a chance to enforce what's going on out there.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance number 2206 on first reading.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mike Bright.
Aye.
Brant Fuller.
Aye.
Joe Palmer.
Aye.
Clarence Worthing.
Aye.
Eric Woods.
And I might add, Mayor, since we have the opportunity to pass this 3 readings, if you want to, study these provisions when you go home during the next couple of weeks and have changes, why just let us know and we'll bring them to the council at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Les. Old business. I don't have anything on the agenda, but does anyone have anything? Okay, under new business, we had the UDO presentation by Dawn, but I decided that maybe this wasn't the time to go ahead and do that. I wasn't sure if we were ready. I talked to Eric a little bit today. I suggested, how about a work session? We should have a work session the last meeting in May if we decide to. I just thought that he has a PowerPoint, I believe, presentation that's going to take some time, probably going to be some questions. So how would you feel about that?
We're gonna be done by the time the race starts.
How
I can't promise that.
would you feel about doing that in a work session versus a regular meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, Dawn, have that ready.
Okay.
That would be that last one in May. And I don't know if is that a Tuesday meeting or a Monday meeting? I'm not sure what.
I think it's a Monday meeting.
Okay, it's not a holiday then. I couldn't remember when our meetings were.
Yeah, it's the 23rd.
23rd. Okay, thank you. Carol, did you want to talk to us about the ARPA final rule?
Yes, so this is not new information. We just feel like it would be to our best interest to have this in some meeting minutes. But the ARPA final rule from the US Treasury gave us the ability to use the revenue replacement choice up to $10 million, which our city, and the amount that our city received falls under that. And that is going to simplify not only our reporting, but it also gave us the option to spend those funds in a manner that was more acceptable to everyone. It wasn't as restricted. So I just wanted to get that in the minutes that we are going to choose the $10 million revenue replacement election in the final rule. And that is due April 30th of this month. I'm working on that right now, that we will be going in and making that election. The revenue replacement. Yes. Yes, government services is the category under revenue replacement that we'll choose. It's 6.1.
Did they suggest that we make a motion, put that in the form of a motion, or?
I think it just needs to be in the minutes, unless Les has a different opinion on that.
Just that you talk to us about it. How does that sound to everyone? Are you okay with that? It makes it a lot easier as far as the reporting, like she said, and really how we use those funds.
So it sounds less complicated.
It is.
Way less complicated.
Yeah, the election has to be made by April 30th to use that broad category, but there is no election form that we know of that's been provided. So I think the little seminar Carol went to, they said just put it in your minutes by motion.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Next, we have the approval of the CF1s, and Jay, you're with us tonight for a couple of those. Do we want to start out with yours? Or do you
Only if you have questions about
Only
them.
if we have questions.
I presented one question today regarding the backstep brewery. He satisfactorily answered that for me. I know I had no others.
Does anybody have any questions on any of the CF ones?
No, thank you. Me and Eric talked about the back step, so.
That's the one I had a question
The
about.
back
So
step, do you need
I'd
any
like to
clar-
hear whatever someone says about that. I know it sounds like he still wants to do something, but he just hasn't got the funds to do it.
You're right on. When Patrick made the decision to come to Frankfurt, at that point in time, his production ability in Crawfordsville was maxed out. And he was going to then make this a second facility. Unfortunately, after COVID and all that, he's got more capacity. He's not at full capacity anymore in Crawfordsville. His original plan was for Frankfurt to be first a brewery and then a tap room where you would sell growlers and by the glass and that. Now, with his need to increase his volume of sales, he's looking at doing it the reverse. Is Frankfurt would first be a facility for a tap room, and that building would first be used as a tap room before and until they got their volume up such that they needed more production. The problem with that approach is he thinks he's got about $50,000 in, bathroom ADA and all that, because then now he's making it a public access building, so he's got to get ADA compliant and all that stuff. So that in an older building, so that's
Costly.
yeah, that's where the so he still wants to do it. He's just trying to get his production up enough that he can afford to do it. So that's where he is right now. He's been hit hard by COVID in his business.
Jay, do you know what his intentions are for the church there? I mean, was he gonna demolish that, or?
That was his original idea, because we talked to him about that when he presented that plan
That's what
to
I
us.
thought, that he
And
was-
he was going to use that for a parking lot.
That's what I thought, okay.
Judy, that is my recollection also. I did not have that conversation this year with him, but, and I don't know if the church is still there running it or not.
It is, he's rented it out for now. I talked to him here, it's been a while back, but I talked to him. And his plans hadn't really changed on the church. Somewhere down the road, he plans to demolish it and use it as a parking lot.
I did give him the name of the event coordinator for the and emailed the concert and all that stuff in hopes that because he was in, when I told him about that, he was interested to see if he couldn't have a way to either have a tent or sell, or if it's a function where the city's going to allow alcohol sales inside, have his product there. So I sent that to him this week.
Okay,
Has he already applied for his liquor license
For that,
for this location?
no, not that I know of. So what he said is he would have to do that under temporary licenses, which might make sense. Or if he's just selling it to someone who has a license, in other words, it's a wholesale sale, he could do that and then have his product just one of others that are at the event.
anybody have anything else? How do you want to do this? I think in the past we've approved all of them at once, or we've done them individually, but
That's it.
also,
I'm fine with that.
okay, got a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any other questions, concerns? Okay, roll call please.
Mike Bright.
Aye.
Brant Fuller.
Aye.
Joe Palmer.
Aye.
Clarence Worthen.
Aye.
Eric Woods.
Okay, all the CF ones are approved tonight. Is there anything else anybody has? Todd, you have anything with utilities for us tonight?
Not tonight.
Okay,
So moved.
okay, second,
Second.
okay, thank you everyone for being here tonight.
When you talk through that.
That's all.